Think about what happens when someone swipes a credit card for a luxury they haven't earned. They act as time travelers. They reach into the future, grab a piece of their unearned wealth, and pull it back to spend today. This is a trade. You are taking a specific slice of your future spending capacity, the money you would have spent years from now, and consuming it in the present. When borrowing becomes easy, this happens at a massive scale. Millions of people do this simultaneously, moving a generation's worth of future consumption into a single decade. This creates a boom that feels unstoppable. Everyone sees more money moving through the system, but the wealth is an illusion. We haven't created any new value. We've just spent tomorrow's paycheck before we even earned it. This chart shows the danger of a system we'll call Economy A. We have two lines. The steep upward curve is our spending, fueled by that easy credit. The flat line at the bottom shows what we actually make. We buy more without learning how to produce more. Eventually, the future arrives. Because we never increased our actual ability to create, our spending power crashes to meet the reality of what we produce. This is where the pain starts. To pay off those old debts, society has to stop spending on the present. When the borrowing stops, the economy locks up, and the boom evaporates. If we move future spending to today without changing how we actually work, a massive economic bust is inevitable. To avoid that cycle, we have to look at the only mechanism that creates real growth. In Economy B, we use an escape hatch called productivity. This is the real engine behind every era of human prosperity. Productivity is simply a measure of efficiency. It's not about working longer hours or hiring a larger staff. It's about getting more results out of the exact same amount of time and effort. For thousands of years, a farmer working with a team of oxen and a hand plow faced a hard limit. No matter how much effort they put in, they could only till so much land before the sun went down. Their output was capped by their physical tools. But give that same farmer a modern tractor and their world changes. They haven't added more hours to the day, but they can now harvest 10 times as much grain. Their time has become much more valuable because they are more efficient. This is the only sustainable way to raise living standards. When we produce more with less, real incomes rise naturally. We can buy more because we've actually created more wealth, not because we've borrowed it. Building this efficiency requires effort. A nation has to invest in specific engines of growth, starting with technological innovation. Major breakthroughs, like electricity or the assembly line, permanently shift what a single worker can do. These technologies take the physical limits of a human being and multiply them by 1,000. Next, a society must invest in the hardware multiplier. This means constantly upgrading the tools, machinery, and infrastructure available to the workforce. The more advanced the equipment, the more each hour of work is worth. But tools alone aren't enough. You need education so people know how to use them, and stable rules to protect what people build. When property rights are secure and the rules are clear, people finally feel safe enough to invent and invest for the long term. When technology, hardware, education, and stable rules all work together, a nation generates real wealth that outpaces anything you could ever borrow from a bank. There is a way to combine the time travel of borrowing with the power of productivity to create a permanent boom. This chart shows successful growth. Borrowed money is channeled exclusively into better tools, immediately creating a huge stack of new output. Since you're more efficient, a small slice of wealth repays the loan. Debt disappears, but the massive ability to produce stays. By using debt to fund true efficiency, you aren't just shifting wealth through time, you are creating it. The boom becomes real, and it becomes permanent. If the path to growth is this clear, we have to ask why our modern economy still struggles with massive generational crashes. Between 1995 and 2005, computers and the internet gave us a massive leap in efficiency. But once that tech became standard, the gains began to level off. We reached a point where having a faster smartphone didn't necessarily help a doctor see more patients or a construction crew build faster. Our efficiency growth stalled. Even though our efficiency plateaued, we didn't stop borrowing. But instead of using that debt to invent the next assembly line, we poured it into real estate. After the dot-com crash, we chased the perceived safety of housing, shifting trillions of dollars away from factories and toward identical suburbs. A house is an item of consumption. It doesn't make a worker faster or help a business produce more. We spent our borrowing power on things we use, rather than the tools we need to grow. We kept reaching into the future for more wealth, but we spent it on a treadmill of consumption rather than the escalator of productivity. Now, the future we borrowed from has arrived, and because we didn't use that time to become more efficient, we are left with a massive bill and no new wealth to pay it. This is the end game of the cycle. When the unpayable math finally catches up, society is forced into years of austerity and debt defaults. The boom is over, and the bill must be paid in full. You can see this failure in the gap between how hard you work and what your paycheck actually buys. When productivity stalls but debt keeps rising, your effort stops translating into a better life. Real wealth is never defined by a credit limit. It is defined by efficiency. A credit-fueled economy might look like progress, but a productive economy is the only one